As far as I've been driving by it for almost 10 years, I've never seen it move. So your guess is as good as mine.
And they were looking to, something's going on with the property or something, and they're trying to get rid of it now, clean up the property?
Yeah, the property's for sale, so I was contacted. If I knew anyone who might be interested in purchasing this tractor, and I said, I know just the guy.
You, hold on one second, we'll set up forward a little. You slowly come down with that, like a big mouse trap. Come on down. That's got it. Smooth, isn't it? Good look for it.
I can't see that side.
Now what?
Fail.
I think you should steer it towards this way a little bit, and we just keep winching and we see what happens.
Oh yeah, that's easy to do. Oh sure.
Good. Leave it like that.
All right.
Now straighten it out. Good. Well, it's good when the throttle sticks full throttle. Let's go see what is going on with that. Hey guys, and how's it going? Well, it's been a little bit since we were on this Kubota tractor due to circumstances beyond my control, but we are back at it. It's I think we got about 3 videos on it. Again, quick backstory. It was bought in an unknown condition. Had a rototiller on the back, was probably the best part of the tractor, but the tractor was dead, didn't run. We had to go lift the hydraulics up, got it on a trailer, got it home, got the engine running, and at that point the 3-point hitch did not work, got the hydraulics working in the back, chased a bunch of, like, the hood was smashed off the tractor, got all that kind of straightened back out again. There was no support for the battery, got that corrected. The charging system wasn't working, got that corrected. Steering was locked up, it would not turn, got that corrected, and then changed the fluids in pretty much front to back on the tractor on the last video. So hopefully this is going to be the last video on this tractor. I said that on one before, but I'm going to try to hold true to it. Anyway, a couple things that we need to still get knocked out. I got a list over there to double check, but none of the lights work. It's missing a couple of bolts here and there. I think some on the wheels. Yeah, I see a stud busted off there. It's missing a bolt for the frame over there. There's another bolt missing on the front wheel. So there's a bunch of hardware that needs to be chased. What else do we have on our list? Air cleaner setup. So we got the crossbar done, charging system, fluids and filters are done. We have to make an air cleaner setup for it. We don't have anything for a seat other than a pan. The busted studs that we talked about, exhaust. I think it was just sitting on there, so we can go get that fixed up. Hoses, I don't even remember. And when we get it up and running, we got to go check the gears and make sure everything's working in the gearbox and trans. So without further ado, let's get set up and get some wrenching done. So I think the first thing I really kind of want to get into is just see if I can get the lights to work, or lack thereof. There's no light on this side whatsoever. There's one running light over there. and has a set of headlights in the front. Let's go see if we can figure out what controls that and how it works. I do have another Kubota tractor here, but it's not set up the same. It's a little bit different. I do see this one has the toggle on the dash, whether that's for lights or not, or if it's in the key switch, how many positions you turn. Well, it won't be the key because it's only got 2 spots. So possibly it's that right there. I'm not sure how well you can be able to see, but here's that switch right there. Right there. I think somebody added that because if I look over, the 2 wires running out of it are this one and the one right above it. And both of those have tape on them. So I think it originally went to the ignition switch and then somebody changed the ignition switch maybe to a later style, or just something that they just went to go use to work, and now they wired a headlight circuit separately. So it's probably the same as my other tractor, but somebody modified it. First thing I want to do is just make sure my test light works. So I do have a light and make sure that my ground circuit is pretty good. All right, I got the key switch on and that switch flipped up. Let me get you back in the stand and we'll start probing those. See if anything lights up for us here. I would think it would be this one. The other one I would think would be ground. And we got no power coming here. Let's go check this other one. Nothing, and there's a wire covered up. No. So no power on any of those going to the headlight switch. Really didn't expect it to work, did you? Really isn't the best of switch and location for it too, because you gotta figure every time it rains, water just goes in around that. Not that I'm condemning it yet, but giving it a good 80%. And this is what our problem is. It's got a little ring on top. You're supposed to turn off kind of like a radio knob. There it goes. I just want to try to drop the whole switch down below so that we can access it. Generally you would have something like that, but it would have a rubber boot on it. You can go double check that tab too. Make sure it says off. Let me see if that says off down below. Yep, it's definitely on position right now. So you get some of these washers off of it. There you go. Of course the wires are just long enough to stick out the bottom so we can probe it a little bit. Let me see if I can work it up over the column and come down on the other side. That gives us a little bit of room. Let's see if we can get in there and see if either side of this lights up for us. I'm gonna just stab it. Okay, so we got nothing on that. The key is in the on position too. I think we were already on that one, yeah. So you got nothing there. And nothing there. There is a little fuse box. Yeah, I got nothing. Little fuse box, let's go open that up. Check what we got going on in here. Manly looking fuses, huh? Little spare packet in there. Let's get a test light on these and see if we get any power coming. So yes, yes. No, 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 no. Does it say what they are? No. I would think that's a fuse circuit, and these are the only fuses that are on that. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go get a little jumper wire, and I'm gonna go jump 12 volts to this one, and we'll see if we get any power going to that switch. Actually, sometimes, believe it or not, it could be a fuse could be on the ground side of things too. So I hook my test light up so that it's on 12 volts. So anything metal that I touch should light up, to ground. So either these are going to ground, it should light up, and it's not. So I'm gonna double check real quick before I put power to it and blow it out. Yeah, some like horns. I think some headlights I've seen before. It goes to like a relay, and it becomes the ground of the relay. And they just open and close. They protect the circuit through there. All right, so we got 12 volts. Make sure it doesn't crank on us when I go to hit one. Alright, so we're gonna go pop that on real quick. It should spark if I hit something. Yeah. So we know we got power. Let's go clip that one. We'll go probe that switch again and we'll try the other one. Alright, see if we get anything. Nothing on that. Nothing on, there it goes, yeah. So, let's just make sure I wasn't screwing up before. Get in there. I want to try to hold it one-handed and take that jumper wire off. There we go, so it works. Let's get the jumper wire off. It works. Alright, so we got power going into the switch and coming out of the switch. Alright, it was not doing that before. I know for a fact we had nothing on that side. Murphy's Law. I don't know, maybe we're just kind of moving it around and wherever the connection is on the other end. I don't have an answer. Gremlins, I tell you. Alright, let's go follow that wire out, see if we get power to any of the other areas of the tractor where the lights are. So let's just make sure we are still putting power out. Alright, that's on. Let's go probe the other places. See if you decide to play well. Nothing. 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 So it looks like for lights, the only ones I found. Hold on. We ain't looking. So it looks like the direction I found was this one right here. If I stab at it. I gotta sharpen this sucker. So that when it goes in my finger, it really goes in my finger. Anyway, so I turn the switch on. We have power going on and off right there to that one. So worst case, we could just run a wire right up to the headlights and we'll just maybe power it off of that. But let's go check what we got going to the rear of the tractor for the taillights. We'll look at the rear fenders. See a wire sticking out of there with nothing on it. I see wires sticking out of here with nothing on it. So I have a feeling there was probably wires running up to those orange wires. I mean, call it orange. It looks like it's the same color as these. So that was the wire that ran to the back. If we have to, we'll tap into the same ones for the front. This one is dead. There's nothing coming out of here. So I'm gonna go run some wiring and I'll be back. Alright, so we know what wires we need to use to power the lights. And I'm looking at what we got on the headlights. So we got two, a brown and an orange. And the other headlight has a brown and orange. I would think one's ground and one's hot. For some reason, they are tied together in this jacket and going out to one single wire. I don't know if that's quite the case. I do see a ground on the headlight bucket itself. Seems a little weird. It doesn't seem like how it should operate. If it had two bulbs in there, like a high beam and a low beam, I doubt very much it has that though. So let's go take this apart. We'll go get a power supply. And we'll put 12 volts to each one of those and we'll see if any of those bulbs are any good or if they go poof or whatever they do. Let's see if we get anything. We got a hot in the ground. And if it goes to glow right away, we know we're screwing up. Well, if we get nothing, then we know there's an issue with the bulb, with the socket. We get nothing on that one. Let's go try this other funky one out. There we get nothing on either one. We got power? Yep. Alright, so we got neither one of these working. Let's, for shits and giggles, ground out to the headlight itself. We'll ground the hood. We'll just see if we get anything. I doubt we will. The way they had it wired, you know? Yeah, there's nothing there. Nothing. I don't know, it's easier just to pop the hood right back off again and kind of work on them? Might be. That's the back of the headlight now that we can kind of get in there a little bit. I don't know if this is like a little spring-loaded plate that holds tension on it. Not quite sure what that is. I do see 3 bolts. I think hold the whole bucket in and the bucket will come out the front. I don't think they have anything in the front that unbolts. I'm willing to bet the elements are gone on both of them, but let's go see if we can get one of those out of there and possibly see what we got, see if they're available. I do see breakage in our future. Oh, we'll give her a shot. One broke free. All right. I think 3 for 3. Watch it not even hold the headlight in. That's unscrewed. See if that'll pop out of there. Feels like what should hold it. I don't think either of these two do anything. Just holds the bracket to it. Don't really want to hit it with a hammer. Well, that kind of goes together well or not. But you know what? I think we might hit it with a hammer. We like to call them love taps. Let's go back over on the bench sheet we got about taking this the rest of the way apart, see if there's a good bulb in it or if we just got corrosion on these contacts on the back here. So it looks like we got to take these 3 clips off the outside, 3 or 4, and then the headlight will come forward and then we can get the bulb out of the front of it. We can get these out. Yeah, looks like that's just kind of turned into a socket. I think the bulb is pooched. I'm looking across the element. I can see the element's kind of gone. Yeah. Snap it off and slice my hand. Yeah, they're looking pretty corroded. I don't know if there's a way to... I think we're going to lose it if we try just twisting it out of there. I wonder if I have any 12-volt lights that are small like this. I'm gonna go check my stash because I got bulbs gone. I'm sure we can get it out of there, but I think the motorcycles use these same ones and they're very expensive. Let me go check my stash, see what I got. I can see the elements broke going across it. I don't know if you can too. Sometimes you shake it down, it'll literally sit in the glass. There it is. I can see it. It's right there in the glass. In my stash, we also need some backup lights too. So if we have any, I'll bring that down. Find a pair or something would be good. Put them on the fender. Grab that. Come on, give me 2 of something. That's on the large side. That's like a regular headlight. Here's the bezel size that we need. You know what I think works is those test lights, emergency lights in like a factory. When the power goes out, I think they're like that size, and they're DC. A little deeper into the stash, we got these. That's blown out though. Cool. But are they the same size? Nope. A little different. I thought I had better stash of lights than that. I thought I had some of those, you know, emergency lights up there. Might be at home maybe. So let's go with path of least resistance. Let's see if we can get one of these out of here. Come on. I don't know if we get down with like a little chisel and we try tapping that ring around. It's definitely rusted up on that. Trying not to totally destroy it so we can actually, you know, read with the bulb. Oh, there it goes. There goes the glass. I'm gonna go see if there's a number on top of that lens before I shatter that the rest of the way out of there for a part number. It's, I think it was like A5667. wants to go. I think I push up on that base and kind of. It's where you need 3 or 4 hands. Come on, there it goes. Yeah. So I was hoping it was just corrosion on the back of there that wasn't making it so it works, but not the case. So we need a set of those, and there's nothing we could do about that today. So let's go on to something else. Not that I'm looking for a great success rate, because I don't think we're going to get it, but I got 12 volts running back. We got 2 wires hanging out of the back fender here. Let's go throw power real quick and see if either of these work. All right, there we go. All right, so we've got a reverse light. Let's go try that other one, which will be that tail light. Nope, both of them are for the light, the big light. That's weird. It's got a high beam, low beam. No, there's only 1 wire going to the headlight. It's odd. Alright, so this one's black. That one goes to that tan light. Looks like that plug's no good either. Lost it. Either my jumper fell off. Yeah. So this one's dead now. Alright. So we know that one works if we get power going to it. And that one, maybe the wire doesn't even make it all the way down there. Maybe it's lost somewhere. No, those wires are tied together. One of them goes here. That's not looking all that impressive now, is it? And that is blown too. I'll explain why that one doesn't light up. I was hunting my bulb stash for one of the ones that we're looking for right now. I saw these two. I'm not sure what their voltage is. But maybe. Is that the same base? Look at that. Thing is, I'm probably going to think that these are much less more of an less of an output. But who knows? Let me go just make sure that they're 12 volt. Maybe we'll have those for samples. I still need to go find one of them, and the only one I found so far is like a marker light that's already orange. Found the bulb. Let's go power it up again, see if they both light up or one light up or that one. So now they're independent for some reason. They work together. That's that one. Good. You guys are probably asking, why is he going so crazy? Well, that works on there well, huh? Why are you going so crazy trying to fix the lights? A lot of the tractors that I use, I do snow plowing, and snow plowing in the wintertime is, or should I say snow removal, is, it's dark at 4:30 around here, so you're out there trying to go do the driveway and see what you're doing. Not that the fronts are all that great because the bucket's kind of in the way, but you want to make sure when you're out in front of the house that a car doesn't crash into you when you're trying to plow. All right, so we got that one works, that one works. We have nothing over there. And the 2 bolts for the headlights, I went and looked them up. They are 6.5 volts a piece. But if they will fit in a socket, there's still a way around that. We can run them in series. The problem is when one burns out, both of them are going to shut off at the same time. Let's go play around with that. I may just kind of jump ahead and bring you back if I get it squared away. All right, so this is what I got. 6-volt bulb in each one. And like I said, I'm going to run it in series. Normally, like parallel, we would run lights, which would mean you got the hot lead on one side and the ground on the other. And you got 12 volts going to it. But if you run something in series, you drop the voltage. If it's 2, you drop it in half. You put in 3 bulbs on, so this is 12 volts. And where I'm doing it in series right now, it'll be 6. If it was 3 bulbs, you'd be down to 4. Now, as soon as one smokes, though, it's gonna be done with it, and I don't know how old those bulbs are. So hopefully they lit and stay. They go lit and stay lit. Let's find out. Okay. As long as they don't smoke. Sometimes what happens is they lose their vacuum. The bulb loses its vacuum, and then oxygen gets to the bulb. and takes that out. So we're going to let that, before we go through the trouble of putting them all back in, we're going to let them burn for a little bit. And we'll see if they stay going. If good, if so, then we're good. If not, then I still have to go shopping. It's been about 5 minutes or so. If they were going to pop, I think they already would have. So that works out good for bulbs that have both circuits, the negative and the positive, on the butt end. So a lot of times the base is ground, and if that's the case, you would have to try to isolate the base. Yeah, so try to run those in series would be hard to do. But again, this is each end of the filament is out there, so I'm able to go hot lead in, ground out, and it's the other broken bulb. So that's all I did, is we'll call that one hot, ground, and then I just jumped across these two. So it makes 6 volts goes across this bulb, 6 volts goes across that bulb, one burns out, the circuit's now open, and both lights go out. So I buttoned up all the wiring, and hopefully we can turn the key on, flip the switch, and that should do us. I'd like to have this have a toggle switch on it, so when I need it and don't need it, especially sometimes you work on like a black back blade or something along those lines, it lights up the back section of it. But if not, you know, cars are there, you're just going to want the one brake light, or what do you want to call it, tail light. I don't think we're going to bother even with this side putting one on there. This is the side of the tractor you kind of get on and off all the time too, and it has a tendency to kind of get you in the special place. So we're going to go take that right off of there. Maybe we'll weld up, beat some of this metal back together, get some of these cracks fixed, and then we'll jump onto something else. Yes, we got the front too. It's the little things in life, right? That doesn't want to play well. And one more. I'll do the same to that one. And done. I think the next thing we should jump on is getting an air cleaner on here of some sort. Generally, it would have had a canister that sat above the battery. That was missing. I don't have any of that assembly. So I think what I'm going to do is work with what I got. I got some kind of, I'll show you in a second, some kind of filter, but it's going to be open. It's under the hood, but it's open as far as it's not in a canister. And what I'll do is I'll just kind of keep looking around for something in the future. If I find something at a swap meet or whatnot, I'll go on and get a filter housing that. The factory one, I think, is probably about 4 or 5 inches in diameter. And I think you unthread the end of it, take the filter out of it, and put the cartridge back in there. So let's go see what we got and what we can make. So I believe that may be possibly a vacuum cleaner filter, or maybe it's just a regular filter for an air filter of sorts. Not quite sure. Blew it out real good, and I figure we'll go into that. I don't think we even had anything coming off that manifold, so what I grabbed is a couple of pieces of hose. I got an elbow. I got a couple of these couplers I think we can kind of screw with to make something fit, and I think that's it. We could probably use some steel pipe if we have to, but let's try working with hose. If we can get like hose to steer up and into the location, that's fine too. Yeah, let's go over the other Kubota with the crickets. Take a quick look how That one's laid out. Yeah, there's the canister I was talking about. And they just pretty much go with heater hose too, or intake hose, I guess they're going to use in this aspect. So if we just need something to kind of come up to where the filter is, or we could put the filter somewhere in that location. Is that dark for you? All right, so we went up over the radiator, through that side piece, and roughly in this area. Actually, I think this one with the tape on it was the original one. How did that go? Let's say it was something like that. And the idea was I grabbed this elbow to cut out that, it's got a big crack in it somewhere that that tape was covering. So let's go, as long as that fits on there, right? There you go. Let's go eyeball a good area to slice, probably right about there. I'll cut those off and we'll put we'll get a piece of metal pipe or something in between them. We'll just clamp them and go with that original hose. And somewhere in the back here of the stash, we should be able to find a piece of pipe that is going to work for us. Actually, that one's pretty close right there. That's that one behind it. Looks like it's steel. Definitely tell you, it's heavy enough. It's a piece of old lawn furniture. It might be it's a tad on the large side, but we might be able to swell that around the way. We need about a 3-inch piece. Let's go. That's our backup right now. Let's just see if there's anything else that will fit the bill. It's looking kind of on the small side. It's not too bad. All 18 horsepower. Actually, this one's bigger. It's 22 horsepower. Air that it needs to suck in. I say we try for that. We'll slice off a piece of that green pipe right now. What's that? We'll go for a piece of that green pipe, try to work that in there. If that doesn't work, we'll go for that other one that we just found. No more stash. That's it. That worked out pretty good. I ended up actually using that copper pipe. Is that the ID wasn't as heavy and block off as much of the flow. So now we got to just get an air cleaner on the end of it. I'm thinking we could probably go with that if we can get that clamped down, sealed on it, and then that piece into there. Apparently I should maybe blow that out a little bit better. This is the filter side. I was getting ready to hook that side up. I think I may want to cut that one back too, huh? Might be a little bit of a leak. Well, we got fresh, clean air going in. And she's a tad on the floppy side there. I think we need to come up with something maybe off of this tin right here, just a little bit of support. Maybe right back here. How about a hose clamp that big? Maybe just a piece of metal that comes off and bends on an angle with a hose clamp on it. Let's see if we can find something large enough to go around that. I don't know what you do. It's got another 3 inches of throw. Yeah, that'll work out for us. That's what we'll do. We'll come up with a little metal bracket. And we'll put maybe a self-tapper right in that hole, or a nut and bolt. I ended up just welding the bracket to the tin instead of trying to bolt it on there. When you have a welder, nothing needs to be bolted, right? Once the hood closes, let's see what we got for room in there. Normally the snorkel comes right to the front, get less light. There you go. That looks pretty good. Way back far enough. Any rain hitting the hood and stuff should run off again, just snow and that kind of thing. Eventually I'll find an enclosed one. For now, at least we have something protecting it. So this is what was on it. But on the sloppy side, it does already have the flapper on top, but I wonder if that might be a smaller diameter. Let's go measure those two. It also looks like it was possibly put on backwards anyway. It's like the direction of flow should be this way. Let's go see if that is smaller than that or if they're the same size. See what we get. I'll just use it as a tape measure. That big? I think they're really the same. Yeah, no noticeable difference. All right, so we got to figure out a way to make a shim up maybe for inside here, or maybe slicing it and kind of crushing down a little bit, take a little bit of room out of it, and we'll weld it back up. See what I can find. My stash over here is like the flanges the expanders they use on exhaust. I found these. They pretty much take up the slack that is in there, but I don't think they fit over the exhaust, the pipe that's on there, the cast iron. So let's go put a cut inside these, see if we could tap one of these on between the two of them, possibly get like a little bit of a wedge fit, and then we could put a clamp around it. Yeah, it's hard and it's going to kill the blade. I'll get it with a cutting wheel. That'll go over there. That lip is kind of beat up on the top. I'm going to go run a flapper disc around that, just kind of take that edge off. Let's that's gonna be too much to try to do that. It's that fine line in between. Let's take a slice. Damn it. We'll take a slice out of the pipe of the muffler. This right here. We'll slice this down, and we'll allow it to kind of close up. See if that works for us. Yeah, slice that about 3 inches or so on both sides. That should allow us to crush it down maybe. Now we need a little tiny exhaust clamp. Let's go see if we can find that. That's gonna be good luck. So the smallest I found in my stash is 1.5. It's 1 1/4 pipe. I really don't want to put that on there. I think it's gonna, I don't want it to crush it oval. I kind of want to have a round pinch on it. So what I'll wait is, we'll wait on that so I can go to the hardware store and just get an 1 1/4 clamp, and I think we'll be all set with that. And through the magic of video, we got ourselves a $1.25 hose clamp. Let's go see how this fits on there for us. Can't get in. Uh-oh. Too snug. As long as we're able to get it, hammer it on there, and it doesn't spread out too far to get these, we may have to go hammer it on and kind of squish them a little. It needs beatings. Beatings, I say. Think it'll go? If we spread her out just maybe. Oh no, we're good. Probably should have came up a little further, but we'll work with what we got. What we got about. So we can. Not exactly worried about exhaust leaks, just make sure we get the flapper facing the right way. Tighten up. There we go. I don't want to crush it too much. In case we need to take it off, it's not too bad, but she's on there. She's stout. Make sure our hood clears it decent. Yeah. Got about a ½ inch or so. That's plenty. That'll do it. You're smoking your face. Should I flip it the other? No, it doesn't matter, right? You figure you're doing 40 mile an hour this way, right? You fight the wind. All right, what do you want to do now? Let's go chase some missing bolts. Let's start with that one. Your loader doesn't need to be bolted together. In my hardware stash, I don't know if there's anything even going to be large enough in here. Let's go see if that's the size, and I have to go shopping somewhere. What's that one right there? Let's see. We go with that one. The only problem is I don't have nuts for it. Yeah, keep your jokes to yourself. Let's go with that guy. Might do it. So let's go and see what we got going on here. We're just missing a stutter knot. I feel behind it, it feels like half the casting is broke away. Let's get this wheel off, see what's going on back there, and possibly, I don't know if we could just kind of maybe weld it and beef it up, or put a piece on this side and just do a nut and bolt with washers to kind of hold it together. But let's get that wheel out of our way and take a peek. All right, see what we got. And corner of the hub is bust off. I think that's going to be cast iron too. I don't know if we can get a, maybe we can go put a bolt like what this is here, run it in and try to give a couple of zaps on it. But cast iron just doesn't work well that way. We could try it. I think it's going to be a fail. Either way, I think if we're able to get a bolt back in here and then we're able to get it to like lock in, maybe we'll grind this a little on the flat side so that it doesn't want to slip out, you know. Now let's get it cleaned up, see if we can find a bolt that's roughly that same size, and something's got to be better than what's there, right? That's the same size as that. The nut from there fits on here. I do see threads on there, but those threads look actually a little closer together. Don't they? Doesn't look like it matches that, does it? Maybe we'll just kind of turn the edge of this down a little bit so it can drop in. Let's whack it with a hammer. See if it'll just pop in there. Yep. It did. So, as long as that's straight and we're able to get the wheel on it. That's it, we just try running some weld over the top of it, see what happens. Worst case, even if that doesn't hold, as long as we're able to get it all together and we pull on it, it still will be supported by the shoulder better than what it was. Other than that, there is a way, to, like I said, to weld cast. I'm not sure if this is cast steel or cast iron. So let's go fire up the welder and see if we can do something. Watch your eyes. Cranked up pretty good. I think it's got it set on 3/8. Yeah, that's cast. Oh, we definitely threw enough weld on it. The thing is, whether that's just going to crack off that cast or I got a decent connection to it. You can kind of hear it. Let's give her a couple of whacks, see what it does. I think we might be okay. I'm going to come in with a little flapper disc. I'm going to just go clean up that surface just a little bit where I'm protruding onto the hub so that where the wheel doesn't hit it. And shove the wheel back on. Actually, we'll run a nut on it. Then we put the wheel on. Put the wheel on, put a nut on, and then we'll cut off the excess there. I was going to give these a little bit of love too. Watch the wheel not fit on. I was only kidding. Come on. So that's why they left that one out. I think we got it. Run the nuts in. Say we run those 3 in, then we'll do that one last. Different size. That one? Nope. That one. Push our luck. Click. Let's go cut that off. Let's see, right about there. Each rear wheel is missing a bolt, stud, whatever you want to call it. Looks like it's all just packed in with dirt. Looks like it's been that way for a while, huh? Now, it looks like it's got wheel adapters on it too. That right there, you can see a tighter bolt pattern on there. So I'm not quite sure. Somebody threw some different wheels on it over the time, or is it supposed to have a, is there a nut that's behind here that it goes into? Hard to say. Go grab an air gun. I'm going to blow that crap right out of there and see if we have any threads. We could probably pull one of these out too and just see what it has. But let's go hit that with an air gun real quick. I think I see threads. Yeah, there's threads in there. It's just missing a bolt, which is nice. I think we have to run a tap through it. Hold on. She's looking a little on the crusty side there. Let's pop one of these out because I'm gonna need to go find it for a size anyway. Hopefully it does not break when it comes off. In case we screw it up, let's go directly across from it. No. So that's what we're going to need to have to find. 2 of those because we're missing one on the other side too. Let's go do some shopping in little hardware areas. If not, we maybe hit the hardware store. We got. I don't know if I have a tap that big too. That's the other thing, you know. Whether we're gonna have something to work with for that. You see one? I don't need it. It's gonna be kind of a. It's a fine thread like that, but we need larger. I do have another bucket or 2 upstairs to go look through yet, but this is the search. That other drawer that I showed you, that's all standard. It's not metric. No, I know none of that's gonna bode well for us. All right, I'll do shopping. Unless you see something right away, I'm gonna go shut you off and I'm gonna see what I can come up with. So I looked around. I did find, looks like from the center of a crank. Seems to be the right size. But I only found one. So I screwed over to the hardware store real quick, 6 minutes before they closed. I got a set of them. They're a little bit on the longer side. I'm not saying that we can't cut it down. It all depends on how much depth we got, how much penetration. I do not want to, I don't have a tap. And I do not want to run those bolts in this. So maybe what we'll do is we'll take this large one that we have and we'll just try to run it through with an impact gun in and out, a little bit of oil, so you can go clean the threads up with this. Make it our sacrificial lamb, I guess. Let me go find a socket for that. Yes. See how this works. Give it a little bit of that. A little bit of that. About to just screw right in with my fingers, right? I doubt it. Let's see if we can get it started though. You think that's straight? Does it look straight? Alright, we're going for it. That only went in about what, 3 or 4 threads? Let's give her again. Sometimes you got to come back with an air gun too. So you just blow out the crap, like all the rust that builds up on the threads. So you go back with an air gun, you blow out the crap that's in there, and then you get a little bit more. You can see all the rust that's back inside there. So we'll just keep working. Same with this too. You know, get all the crap that's built up on the bolt. Threads look good still. You would think this is pretty hard, right? You can see roughly how far back it goes. I think it's a little bit more to go than that, but let's give it a shot. See how close we are anyway. Think we got it? I'm not sure myself. Which one is it? That one? Yeah. All right. That one's tight. I gotta go get a lock washer. Let's go see how far this one goes in. I don't know if it's gonna bottom out in that hub or not, you know? I just don't. physically know how deep that goes. That'll be fine. Just needs a washer. Good. You didn't think I was going to be able to find a lock washer, did you? Yeah, I was looking like I was going to take a ride back to the hardware store that I can't do. You think I would have thought of that. But I did. And then you're saying, yeah, but you need one for the other side. Ha! Found two of them. I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm probably not going to film it if it's more of the same of this. If it's something different, then I'll turn the camera on. So that one's all set. It's the one we stole it and transferred to place. We're all good with that, but that might be an issue. Still need to get one more out there, roughly about that size. That's just a nut and bolt though, so that shouldn't be an issue. All right, last call for hardware. Let me know if you see anything missing. See a hole there. I don't think they had hardware there though. It looks like a pivot point or something. If I take my vice grips off, I'll be like, what's that noise? Got a bolt in there. Cut that off. Don't see anything else standing right out. That's loose right there. Might be an issue. The reservoir tank floating. The pins, this doesn't have greasable pins. They all just kind of flop their way around there. I may spray some goo in there of some sort. Something that turns into like a grease. But yeah, they don't have bushings in there that you grease. I think that's it, right? Front end's been greased, all that, you know, the pivot points have all been done. All this stuff's been taken care of. All right, I'm gonna go tighten up that tank. And I think next is we got to deal with a seat. The lovely one that was on there. I think other than making it pretty, which I probably won't do, the last thing is dealing with the seat. They had two brackets in there and sat on some cushions. Yeah, I have that same opinion. So, that's why I went for the big bucks. Got us a nice clean one. Get that out of the bag and get some hardware on it. Go cruising in style. Well, that looks a little better now, doesn't it? I need to get a rubber grommet. I'm missing one for the back of the seat. It's kind of offset a little bit. That they touch at the same time now, so that's how we're gonna go leave it. You flip them up in for rain. It depends. You want to keep the seat clean, but sometimes I actually find if you flip it over, water actually gets down in behind it and causes more damage. It does have drain holes in it, but it does keep the snow off of it when you're ready to go use it. I think we are done with mechanicals. Again, aesthetics is another thing in its own. I'm not that worried about paint, at least not at this time. I just want to get all the mechanicals going. I say as long as it starts back up again, we try the loader, maybe shove it in a pile or something, see if it can do some digging and how all that stuff works out. I may put the tiller back on the back side of it just to have some, you need some counterweight to counter what the bucket is doing, especially on a two-wheel drive tractor. These tires are filled. I'm not sure if they're filled with water, if they're filled with calcium. Common thing to do, but when the valve stem was in low position, I pushed it out and a bunch of fluid shot out, so they are definitely filled. And that's, again, just try to help put a little bit more weight on it. All right, I gotta go jockey this thing out of here, and let's go give her. Well, I haven't started it in a month due to circumstances under my control. Out of. Make sure we're neutral. See how she does. Make sure I don't run over myself. I would say we probably gotta gloat. Let's gloat for a little bit. Give her a. I'm going to put the rototiller back on it just for counterweight. Make sure we're functioning. Didn't like that. Come up with the RPMs. Nice, we're all set. All right, let's get her out of this little cubby hole. Well, that might be an issue. When it releases this up, it's not holding pressure. So I think it might be the seal on the main cylinder. It's got blow by and it's coming around it. It may get a little bit better for cycles a little bit, but I have a feeling that's going to need a repair on its own. Yeah, this goes all the way down. Well, let's go see what the bucket can do in the sand pit. I wouldn't exactly say the brakes stop on a dime, but they're not terrible. We try putting that's nothing but a bunch of rock. It's not like it's dirt or loam, which would be real easy. That's really going to put a test on it. I don't expect it to do great, but let's see what we get. Well, the levers are backwards on the loader compared to my other one, so it's a little screwed up in your head trying to figure out how to operate it. I think once you're used to it, it's fine. I don't see any issues with the loader function. But let's go check out the tiller, see how that works, and see if that's all doing what it should be doing. It's not exactly tilling up your lawn, there's just a lot of rock here, but let's go, give it a shot. That's pretty good at chipping rocks. Again, it's not exactly normally what you would be rototilling, but I just kind of want to fire it up and run it a little bit. It seems pretty decent. So, other than having a problem where the cylinder is dropping down for the 3-point hitch, we were having a problem with that before too. In the beginning, I took it apart and just tried to find out there was nothing happening with that. So I have a feeling there's still that same issue going on. Not quite as bad, but we are leaking by somewhere on one of the seals or the pump or something along those lines. So that still needs to be addressed. Other than that, I think it's worked out pretty good. It's got to, again, get put through its paces. The shifter's a little on the hard side to kind of get finding the gear right away, but again, I think I just need to run it a little bit. Do pretty good. All right, guys, I'm going to go call it right here. I think we put it through its paces for now. it does still need a little bit of love, but at least it's up and functioning other than the 3-point hitch. And we could actually just take that off for now and run it, but I do want to fix that. Well, a little addition, it was having issues shifting, and I want to get at least that corrected. The 3-point hitch is probably be its own issue to go deal with it dropping down, but if you take the tiller off, we don't really have to worry about that at the moment. We can still just use the tractor. Anyway, so it's got shift forks that put the gears back and forth. Everything kind of looks okay inside here. I don't see anything worn, I don't think anything screwed up. Now there is a plate that sits over there, over top of this, that has the 3 shifter forks on it, and then on top of that is a receiver for the shifters themselves. And I'll go show you on the bench what's kind of going on. So there's the 2 shifters. This is the main one, and this one is high and low range. So that sits in either, get them lined up. So that would sit right in the middle of there. You would move this shifter forward and back. I think this one's 2nd and 3rd. This one will be 1st and reverse, and then 4th and 5th again on the other side. And they have shift forks on the back of them that move those gears around to where they need to be. Well, what was happening was it kept jamming where it would look something like, I don't know if I could do it. That one would be drop down, and that one would be up. It would be locked up just like that, and then these are squished in, but the shifter would be stuck in here. Now it couldn't go into this one, it couldn't go into that one, and it was stuck in a gear to a forward gear. Not sure which one it was. So I took it apart. Like I said, I find that this one shifts okay and this one shifts okay, but there's times when this middle one is just bound up. Now it's not hitting anything on the other end. There's nothing there in its way. That fork is really in the open. They have 3 little springs on top of here, and they have check balls inside there. And the little check balls, what they do, they just kind of hold the shifter, and that's when you're moving the shifter and you feel the clunk going back and forth. That's those little balls dropping into there. This one seems like it's kind of jammed or binding up. So I'm gonna see if I can get a magnet, get those 3 out of there, and see if that frees up. There might be just like a sharp burr or something on that one position that doesn't allow this one to move. It also looks like it's fairly beat up. You see the surface there where the shifter's been sliding back and forth. It's got some decent amount of hammering on all 3 of them. So it may or may not have been a problem for a while. Let's see if we could just have them gravity feed out. Got one. The middle one's the one that really. Another one. Let's go look at, so it's this shift fork is still bound up, and the check ball's not even in there. Yeah. I also see a bunch of rust. It's like old rust, but some rust on the forks where they slide back and forth. So I'm gonna go see. We gotta get this one apart. Figure out why it's binding. What's in that hole that's causing it to bind. I have a feeling it's just a big burr. So I took those little preloads out of there. And so nothing is touching that fork. See if we can get her to move. Funny because it wiggles back and forth. What is causing it not to move? Bring on the other one. So I looked at it a little more. I ended up pulling the rod out of the top because I saw that access hole up there. And lo and behold, there's a check ball right there. So it's being held by the other side. Actually, if that's up, can we get it to go out now? Will it move? So I don't know, first of all, even what that does, what the purpose of that is. I'm going to work on getting that one out. There might even be one that's on the other side that's between these two that is stuck into the arm here. Just don't know. Because like right now that should come out of there with that ball being up. Oh. So I do think there's one stuck between here and here inside, and that's the one that's got it jammed. So I'm going to try taking the lower rod out and see if I can get that ball to free up. It's probably just egged out in the socket is my guess, but don't know. If you tear it apart, I don't know how we're going to get in here. See when it drops out when I take it out. No, that sucks. There's no hole to. It's only drilled on the one side. So it's not like we can go peek up inside there. No, it's hanging down. Will it come out? Ha! All right. Finally. It's amazing. That's all. Let's screw the whole thing up. But there's a little bit of rust in there. It's probably meant so the shifter only moves one way or the other. Yeah, she's a little beat up on the edges now. That's probably from us hammering on it. All right, me hammering on it. Should be able to. Yeah, they got such a berm on them. They're not even popping out. Maybe what I could do is come down from the top with a drill bit and open that up a little bit. So, because that's what happened. It got wedged to one side and just bound. Come on. Yeah, just bound to one side. We could probably swap these over if they're the same size for the front ones. They got some dents in them. What about that one? This is our troublemaker here. Well, that thing is stuck. Unless it's just got crud around it. This is the one that caused our problem though. Let's go see what we got. See some marks on it. Yeah, big old divot right there. So maybe we'll trade these in for the easier place where they were up there. I think they're all the same size. I'm gonna go see if we can get a long drill bit. They kind of come down and open these up so that that ball can slide freely through there. I think it's just what happened. It just got jammed to one side and just stayed there. That was it. So I grabbed an index and went up to the bits that would start to drop down and then not. And that one binds up in that first hole we're talking about. So let's go take, hopefully it's long enough. Yeah, I think we just chalk up on it real shallow. Let's see if we can. Kind of open those those holes up. And then we should be able to drop a ball. You don't lose it. Right down. It should go all the way down to the bottom and fall out, right? Yeah, good. Well, that's what we want. We want clearance that it didn't have before. And now we're good. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go clean up those linkages, the pin points around all here. I'm going to go kind of like buff the real sharp edges off of them so they don't bite like they did, and get it all back together, see if that fixes our problem. I think that was it though. It was stuck to one side. I think what we're going to do is a bunch of detents, because it's pinned in the fork. It really can only work on one area. You can see where it's all scored. There's no difference. I'm going to flip it so that we're going to run in this area where there's a clean surface where the check ball can go, instead of where all that damaged beat upness over the years has happened. So I think possibly I was screwing up a little bit, but you know, again, it was jammed. It wasn't going anywhere, because these two need to be in neutral, this one and this one, for the center one to move, which it does now. Those balls are all in there. But then soon as, say you move this one can't move, and this one can't move until this one's returned back to neutral. Right? Then that one can move, and then that one can move. So I think we're good. I do think it was stuck though. It was jammed on the one. Yeah, obviously it wasn't shifting, so something was causing our issue. But I do think possibly if I got these in that neutral position and kind of tapped on it, I may have been able to get them to drop down. I don't know. But we're off to putting it back in the tractor and see what it does. So that's what it looks like back together. The 3 check balls are in the front. When the cover gets put on, that puts tension on them. But when I took it apart originally, this one was all the way forward and this one was stuck all the way back. They were racked apart and it was just jammed up and really nothing would move. Plus, you got to figure the shifter was just kind of stuck in the middle of this one. It couldn't go into this gate and it couldn't go into that gate because they were racked on a weird angle. And I guess, again, I'm still thinking it was because of those little transfer. It only allows one to move at a time, one of these rods to move at a time. And so what I did, 2 of these were the same. I think it's these 2. I swapped the locations. I'm not sure if I said that. So that the one that's got the ball on each side of it is now over here, and the one that is in the middle, I kind of rotated it so it's got fresh areas on both sides as far as scarring is concerned. All right, let's get the shifter back on it, see what it does. All right, the engine's not running, so the gears aren't spinning, but let's just go see how the shifter feels. But before we had no. That one feels okay. That one feels okay. Good. Because before, even when I was trying to work it in the gravel pit, I only had this side and this side. The middle was not moving. So whatever his issue was, come on, it's doing it right now. Hold on. So that one goes. That one goes. And that one's jammed up again. There it goes. Let's fire it up. I'll back you up a little bit and we'll fire it up and see how it does. We got all, do not have a brake on that wheel. So that's why it's kind of crappy for braking too. So, transit's fixed, everything else seems to be good. Again, we still have maybe another video. Find out why we don't have a brake on this side. It looks like it is connected. That's the clutch pedal. It pulls up on this lever and there's a set of brakes that are inside here. So that brake does not seem like it's been working. It also looks like somebody's been in there with the sealer that's on it. Well guys, I think that's finally going to go do it on this video. I'm sure it is long enough. I'm happy with how far we got. Again, don't know, it was a $500 tractor and I paid $1,000 for the tiller. So I think we're in probably about another 200 bucks, just like little smalls. I think the most expensive thing was the seat. I think it was about 100 bucks. But filters and fluids, I think, is the only other stuff that we really put in it. Yeah, a bunch of smalls. So everything's working. Like I said, we do not have a brake working on that wheel, and the 3-point hitch does not stay in the up position. I have a feeling, so inside here, this is what works the 3-point hitch. There is a piston or cylinder down the center of it. It's got a ring that goes all the way around it. I have a feeling that that failed because normally you could run the cylinder all the way up, and if you run this valve all the way in, it locks any fluid movement and it should just stay there, but it's still leaking down. So that's kind of what I think is going on, is that we lost the seal going around that piston that's in there. So probably going to order a little kit. Whether I do a video on that or not, I'm not sure. I may just kind of do that on my own, and we'll just call this one a win. I think we're 4 videos into this tractor, but we'll see. That's for future to figure out. Hey, it could go for paint, but I think I would rather actually paint my 4-wheel drive one before I did this one, because that's my friend. All right, guys, with that, I'm gonna go sign off. I want to thank you all for just hanging out with me, doing a bunch of wrenching on some rusty junk, and just having some fun. And hope you enjoyed it. Till the next one, I'll see you. Bye. Well, on the brake pedal, they have a bar that locks the pedals together, and you have left and right pedal, and that's for you use the brake, say if you're back dragging the bucket or if you're plowing or something. You could steer the tractor even if the front tires are off the ground by working each pedal. But if you push both of them down, you'll see the difference of them. Well, if they're locked together, it's never gonna hit the brake on the other side. Well, I looked at the adjustment. Somebody adjusted this side, but they never adjusted the other side. So I'm gonna make it so that when those pedals are down, they're both doing the same thing at the same time, and we'll have brakes on both sides.